Hello, 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 and welcome to Apex 2 Oval. I'm Alex, that's Jack, and this week we're going to be talking about some F1, some NASCAR, some WAC. I think that's it. Before we start, give us a 5-star review, subscribe, like, and share if you enjoy the show. I did not have anything come out this week. Technically, I did. I had a video come out on my channel, but that was for class. So if you want to watch it, link will be down below. It's about Lime Rock Park, the Truck Series race that happened last year during the summer. So, yeah, I had to make a video for class, and I did it on the Trucks race. And yeah, take a listen. Let's go to F1, where F1 media has lost their minds. Now, if you didn't know, we're on a 1-month break. It's the longest break in F1 during the season in like 2 decades, pretty much. I think it's 2 decades, maybe like 19 years, but it's around 2 decades where we haven't had this long of a break during a season. The F1 media has lost their goddamn minds because the first like week back, I'm checking every day for new news. Swear to God, I see a Lewis Hamilton 2007 Lewis Hamilton article. Mate, that happened almost 2 decades ago. Why are we writing about this? Everything that has been written about it and can be written about it has already been written. Why are we revisiting this? Just the other day, just today, while I'm looking up more articles to put on this like budget show list, there was like a Damon Hill title article, like when he won the title in like the 90s. What are we doing? This cannot be all that we have to, like that. There has to be some news. I don't get it. I get we're in like a time, unprecedented times where like there's nothing to cover. Let's try to bring a new perspective to something instead of covering shit that happened 2 decades ago plus. I am guilty of this as well because my second ever article for the Daily Campus was about the Silver Wars and Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton's friendship turned sour. So I am, but ever since then I've been writing about new stuff. Why are we writing about stuff that happened 2 decades ago? There's no new perspectives on it. They're not adding anything. They're just bringing up stuff from 2 decades ago plus. Like, I respect the hustle. It'll get clicks. But F1 media has lost their minds. Jack, do you have any thoughts on that?
I don't really see the sense in complaining about getting content. I think that realistically there isn't anything happening, right? There are only so many stories you can write about, oh, Kimi Antonelli said Ferrari is going to catch up after the break. Oh, this driver thinks this might happen. Like, there are only so many stories you get, and there's only so much availability or anything happening over this early break, because this isn't even like a summer break where you're starting to get contracts and stuff figured out. This is an unexpected and very early in the season time. These journalists, it's their job to write about the sport. This is an unexpected cancellation, and they're doing what they can to still give their readers content, right? There are a lot of people that subscribe to these different outlets. There are a lot of people that look out for these stories, and it's at least something. Even if it's filler content, it's still something that they're putting out there, which means that they can still, continue to do their jobs in a way. And I much prefer that to them taking the time off or pumping out the same story about, oh, is Ferrari going to catch up for the 20th time in a row? Why not revisit like past seasons, past stories, things that, some of those readers may not have seen yet?
That is fair. That's a fair take. I'm not even going to rebuttal that. I'm just going to add something where, like, I feel like we're at a time where, like, especially from things like 2 decades ago, everything has been said that, like, is already out there and that's already been talked about. I think it would be fun to try to find a new way of telling the story or finding a new tidbit. Obviously, it might be hard, so if you can't, that's fine. But, like, I want a new perspective. Like, if you're going to bring up something from 2 decades ago, I want a little bit more than just a collection of the events. Because one of them was Lewis Hamilton's 07 season, his rookie season. And it was just telling you about the events that happened that season. That's cool and all. I respect it. But I want to see a new perspective along with that. Even if that new perspective is like very minor or very like not the main story, I would love to see new perspectives coming along, because it did happen 2 decades ago and we have a lot of context that we didn't have back then when these stories were being told. That's just me. But I respect the hustle, and I would do the same thing if I were them. So let me be very clear. As a journalism major, I'd do the same thing. So I'm not hating on it. I just find it funny that we've now hit a point with the 1 month break that we're covering things from 2 decades ago. I'm not hating. Let's be very clear. I'm not hating. I enjoy reading the old articles. Let's be very clear. I just find it funny where we've hit, like, because I've never seen this before, and I've been reading about F1, talking about F1, watching F1 since 2023. I've never seen anything like this before. Even over winter break, there's always stuff to talk about, it seems like. But, that I just find it funny. I don't know.
I don't think this is even particularly out of the ordinary. I feel like even calling it, like saying respect the hustle is so reductive toward what is kind of a pretty normal thing to do. Because at the end of the day, their job is to put out content. It's the same way that, a YouTuber that covers sports will put out history stuff in between, like, covering actual things happening, right?
True.
It's not like it's taking away from their ability to cover anything else. It's just... True. And also, like, you can say you want... I don't know exactly how you're defining you want a new perspective in it, but it's not like they're not adding the fact that it is, currently 2026 to these sorts of things. Like, it's important in many fields to have updated retellings of a lot of these things, right? People aren't going to want to go back to old sources. A lot of people may not be aware of what happened at a time when, you and I were 3 years old, pretty much.
Damn. That's a long time ago. Yeah.
It is. And people aren't going to go back and follow in a lot of ways. And so this is still new to a huge amount of the audience. And that's what you want. You want it to be new to a lot of the audience, your F1, because that means the sport's growing. And so this is still compelling content. This is still updated even in a small way. And it's not taking away from anything else in my book.
No, well, because there's literally no... It's like Kimi, as you said, Kimi saying, Ferrari will close the gap. It's like, we'll talk about this later, Lewis Hamilton and his new relationship getting confirmed.
Which we talked about weeks ago, right?
Which we talked about weeks ago, but now it's like confirmed, kind of. And then, like, Caleb Williams wanting to start investing in F1 at some point. Like, it's very, like, there's not much going on. So, again, I get it. When I didn't know what to write about for F1, when I first started writing for the Daily Campus, I would write stories about what happened. And that was my most viewed thing ever. It got like 1,200 views, which may not seem like a lot, but like very few articles at the DC get over 1,000 views. So the fact that my second ever article got over 1,000 views was pretty cool. But again, I like hearing the recollections, but maybe like, I don't know. I think when I say like add a new perspective, I would like to see some context into like modern day. Like if Lewis Hamilton, right, his 07 season, how did that transform him to today? How did that, something like that where like you add like, I don't know, like a modern day kind of context to it. Like I get they do in some cases, but like the ones that I've read so far, like there hasn't been much like modern day context added. They've just been recollecting the story or retelling the story from the 07 perspective. I would love to see it from today's perspective. But that, again, that's just me. If people don't want to read that, that's totally fine. But anyway, Caleb Williams, as we said before, he's eyeing an investment in F1. If you don't know, Patrick Mahomes, the GOAT, or the future GOAT of football, according to everybody, invested in Alpine a year or two ago. Lewis Hamilton invested in the Denver Broncos a couple years ago. So there's a little bit of an F1 to NFL pipeline going, and Caleb Williams, who loves F1, watches F1, and the F1 movie. I don't know if you read the article that I put in there, Jack, but the F1 movie is one of Caleb Williams' top 3 movies ever. That's pretty sick. But Caleb Williams said that he is eyeing a possible venture in Formula One, and one of his what?
I thought he just said he wanted to learn how to drive the car. I didn't see him talk about investing at all.
Oh, there was another article that I saw that he was talking about investing. It was a Yahoo article. I think I might have sent the wrong one. Hold up.
Because I know there was the Mahomes and Kelsey attached bid for Alpine like a while back.
Yeah, there was a... Here we go. Well,
but as far as things go, Caleb Williams, you are never going to learn how to drive an F1 car, quote unquote. You might be able to drive like an F4, F3 car in a practice session, but that's not happening.
So the article that I saw is behind a paywall, but it says that he is interested in adding F1 to his portfolio. It's by the Bloomberg. That's the original article that I saw. I couldn't get like full access to it because it's behind a paywall, and so I linked the other one as like a buffer. Anyway.
Yeah. I hate to break it to Caleb Williams. You're not driving an F1 car. That's not going to happen.
No, you know what you could actually do? You know what he could do? It's definitely F1 adjacent, is drive a Formula E car, because they let creators... By the way, Formula E, great series. They're letting YouTubers drive their cars. YouTubers, TikTokers, streamers.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking sick. That's pretty sick, don't you think?
Okay, I thought you were criticizing it. I was like, it's in a practice session. It's not hurting anybody.
No, that's sick. Now, one of the people that drove it is Richard Hammond's daughter. I think her name's oh shit.
Didn't she crash?
Yes, that's what I was going to mention. That's what I was going to mention. Some of them have crashed.
I've seen her on like I think TikTok a couple times.
Yeah, Isabella Hammond.
Specifically in videos with her dad.
Yeah, dude, they're sick. I love Richard Hammond so much, genuinely. But yeah, his daughter tried racing a Formula E car during a practice session.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that can only be a net positive because Formula E, they put a pretty good product on track, but the visibility doesn't match the product a lot of times.
Yeah,
especially if you think about like electric. Maybe less so than a couple years ago, but it's still where street cars are heading, right? Mm-hmm. The ICE engine has kind of a limited lifespan. So at some point as a premier electric series, we might want to get a few more eyeballs on it.
Yeah, and I will say, Caleb Williams definitely would have the opportunity to drive a Formula E car when he retires.
Even when even before he does. I mean, I'm sure...
Well, I don't know if he's allowed to before. Because I feel like pro athletes have, like, in their contract, can't do anything dangerous. And I think that would, like...
Sometimes they do. It depends on the athlete.
You know what? Caleb Williams probably doesn't have that in his contract. Now, because it's Caleb Williams.
And he's also... Isn't he still on his rookie deal?
Yeah.
I'm not sure they put a lot of that kind of language in unless you're a big money guy.
Top big money guy. All right. Well, he's getting towards that. He's certainly working towards that. So, yeah. And then finally, Kim K and Lewis Hamilton official on Lewis Hamilton's Instagram Reels.
Good for them.
For them. We already knew it, but I think the entire world already knew it. But as I said, the Ferrari curse, the Kim K curse, mash them together. Lewis Hamilton, world champion, 2026. It's going to happen. Anyway, do you have any thoughts on that? No?
I have no thoughts that I didn't already say a few weeks ago when we found this out, which is that I have always been a Max Verstappen fan. Abu Dhabi 21 was the most just decision in all of sport. And as such, this news doesn't affect me in the slightest.
Like one of the reasons why I'm a Lewis Hamilton fan is because you were a Lewis Hamilton fan, right? You do know that, right? Your whole recollection of the 21 season is the reason why I'm a Lewis fan. Anyway,
I
back.
also I do
What?
want to put it out there that I wasn't even like and I've never been like the world's biggest Lewis fan.
Yeah.
That just ticked my like injustice meter so hard the way that all played out. Like I was honestly, I mean, at that stage, like in real time, I was kind of hoping that Max would win it fairly, right?
Mhm.
But to see it end the way that it did was brutal, right? And made me a lot more sympathetic. Like I already liked Lewis, respected him a ton as like the GOAT.
Wow.
But when someone wins for so long, you're excited for something else to come along and to have a challenge. And that season was cinema up until the last race.
Yeah.
The 21 season. But the way that it ended really just really brutal. It was like I mean, you're wearing a UConn hat. It's like seeing ref ball on the biggest stage. And you're just left like even if you're happy with the outcome, which I was mostly indifferent because I would have been happy for the both of them for different reasons. But even if you're happy with the outcome, you're just left with a sour taste in your mouth of like, can't we have just seen them battle fair and square? Why did someone else have to make it about them? Right?
Yeah.
And that's always how I feel with like poor officiating. In any case, it's
especially in a national championship game, maybe happened yesterday between two great teams, and
if we want to talk about that, in a just world, I think Michigan beats UConn by like 20. But Michigan played poorly, and UConn's game plan was incredible in the sense that game as played, UConn should have won. Unfortunately, it was reffed by James Breeding, his 11th UConn game of the season out of 40. UConn has like a 60% winning percentage in games he refs and a 97% winning percentage in games he doesn't. He has a long history with Dan Hurley of giving him pretty soft technicals, ejecting him from a game for pumping up the crowd is always the big one people turn back to. But a very long history of having a personal grudge against Dan Hurley, and is just a bad ref in the first place, to the point that every single Big East fan base, seeing that he was announced as a ref for this game, was like, how in the world did this happen? Who let this happen? What are we doing? Before the game was like that. And during the game, like it went as people expected to with this guy. Like, do you know how insane it has to be for the majority of the country to be on the side of Dan frickin' Hurley? Like, nobody likes Dan Hurley other than UConn fans. That's not totally true. A lot of fan bases respect him because he's a winner. And he is a good guy at his heart, even if he's, a bit of a yeller. So, like, I know a lot of Kansas fans really like the guy. Which makes sense. He's always very complimentary of Kansas and vice versa. But, like, the majority of the country agreed that it was a lopsided whistle. And I don't know how you don't when it's like 15-4 on fouls in the first half. And, like, you're seeing online like posts from anyone that's not a Michigan fan basically talking about how there's an asterisk attached and how like it leaves a sour taste in people's mouths and how that's not what they wanted to see in a national championship game. And it's not that I think that I think that Michigan is a better team. I just would rather they have showed it on the court instead of have a third party involve themselves in a way that makes most of the country feel like the game was tainted. Not that the wrong team won, but that the game itself sucked and wasn't legitimate, right? Like I will go to my grave believing that Michigan should have won this game, even if the way it was played didn't necessarily reflect that in a lot of ways, because Michigan was the better team. Like 9 out of 10 times they win probably pretty comfortably. But the refs inserted themselves so much that it just leaves such a sour taste in your mouth. And it's the same thing as we're talking about with like Abu Dhabi 21, where that made me a lot more sympathetic to Lewis's cause, if you will. Versus Max, because Red Bull had even leading up to that, Red Bull had kind of a history of, Karen Horner. But it was, anyway.
Anyway, let's get on to NASCAR, where Arbys is becoming a supporting partner of the San Diego race at the naval base. See what I rhymed it,
Wow, that went bananas. Bananas, bonkers,
so
and berserk.
Thank you so much. Arby's, we have the meats. That's all I got.
They got the meats.
They
There's an
got the
Arby's down the street from me,
meats.
man.
I don't have an Arby's near me, but you best believe that during the San Diego race, I'm going to Arby's and I'm getting some meat.
Speaking of the San Diego race, by the way, minor news, because we talked about Jimmy Johnson running multiple races at San Diego.
Oh, I know you're going on with this.
Yes.
Yes.
So we were surprised when Jimmy Johnson announced that he was running multiple races because we thought that it wouldn't be allowed for this weekend for drivers to run in multiple series. And that is true only for full-time drivers. Because Jimmy's part-time, he can run in the different series. But otherwise, you're not going to have cup guys going down to trucks and stuff like that. Kind of an important clarification, although that was a footnote in an episode a while ago.
Yes, and that is fair, I feel like. Because there's not enough seats in the lower series for every single full-time driver to get a seat before the race.
Yeah.
So, fair.
And if they allowed it, those series, like every cup driver would use one of their races going down to try to get track time on a brand new track, right?
Yeah.
And that would really kind of screw over a lot of the even some of the full-time series guys, right? Like that would definitely be a race. Raja would get booted to the Jordan Anderson car.
Yep, 32.
And then, whoever would be driving that otherwise would be without a ride. Like the Junior Motorsports / Hendrick cars would all be cup guys if at all possible, right? And that would push like the cream of the crop full-timers to whatever rides are left and basically leave nothing for even like the Anthony Alfredos of the world that might get left, on the outside looking in. Which would really suck for what's going to be a pretty high-profile race weekend.
And that would suck for me because I like to watch Anthony Alfredo race.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, Fast Pasta, the GOAT. Speaking of the GOAT, we have the GOAT of television in the 2000s, 2010s, Frankie Muniz, is going to be repping a Malcom in the Middle truck for Bristol this weekend, as Malcom in the Middle is airing, I believe, this Friday on Hulu. I'll be writing an article for it that'll come out on Monday. So, pretty sick. The car itself, also pretty cool. Here's a photo of the car. Here's a photo of Frankie Muniz, originally in Malcom in the Middle. And here is a photo of Frankie Muniz in the new Malcom in the Middle reboot.
Malcom in the Middle, Life's Still Unfair on Hulu.
Yes.
What's the funniest part to me is this is far from the first time a driver has had themselves on the car.
Wait, what? There's been a driver who's had himself in the car?
In different ways, yeah. I mean, I think even like Corey LaJoie famously had his face all over one of his cars back during like COVID, right?
Respect, Corey. Respect.
There was a Chastain car that I don't know if it was technically him or not, but had like a guy wearing like just underwear.
Oh, on the toilet.
Side door. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. That was last year.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like there are a lot of examples of the drivers being on their cars in some way or another.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't think that Ross Chastain was him because I feel like Ross Chastain is a lot hairier than that guy on the
that's,
on the
that's
car.
probably pretty true.
Like I'm just saying.
But yeah, if you look up Corey LaJoie face car, you could see what I'm talking about.
Here is the Corey LaJoie face car right here. Oh my god!
I think he actually ran two. I think he ran one pre-COVID and then another one with a mask on it during COVID.
That shit is hilarious. It's an Old Spice car. That's an Old Spice ad.
Yep.
No, it's not. Is it really?
Yeah. The one pre-mask was Old Spice, yeah.
Dear God.
NASCAR with the mask,
driver
I think,
Corey
was...
LaJoie, known for hoods paintwork. That's all he's known for. His hoods and paintwork. Dear God.
I think LaJoie has been on his car multiple times. Because I think when he was racing for Spire, he was on his car as well in a Built Bar car.
Oh my! Wait, you said Spire?
Yeah, in the 7 car.
Yeah, that Corey. Here's a picture of Corey LaJoie's first face car. Here's a photo of Corey LaJoie's face mask car, and here's a picture of Corey LaJoie's number 7 Spy Motorsports face car. That's actually elite, though. That's actually a fire idea. That's actually pretty good. And the Old Spice one has his hair running down the entire car.
Right? Well, wasn't that like kind of the point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's so funny. Anyway.
That's really fun.
That's hilarious, though. That's so great. Corey LaJoie, if you would like to come back to the Cup for one race just to do that again, let me know. Some cool things happening at Talladega this weekend, or next weekend. Not this week. No, 3 weekends from now. My bad. It's Bristol, Kansas, then Dega. Fuel saving. The big issue at super speedways. Drivers will tend to fuel save a lot because the last stage is the longest stage and they want the most fuel in that stage. And so NASCAR is combating that by doing a couple of things. Number one, the Talladega's first stage will be longer than the final 2 stages to try to mitigate the fuel mileage incentives. And the final 2 stages won't require a fuel stop. The stage lengths are TBD.
Yeah, as I think it was announced that the first stage would be around 100 versus the next 2 being under 50 laps.
Ooh.
The total race length should be about 188 laps, so you could do the math out from there. But the idea there is that fuel saving has kind of ruined super speedway racing, where, I mean, you know, I think, Alex, you've complained about this on the pod a few times of like, but also especially when we're watching the races together of why are they single file just going in circles for like an hour on end, only for it to get interesting in like the 3 laps before a stage break. And this is trying to help with that a little bit, where if there's no need to save fuel at all, then there's no incentive to slow it down and just putt around single file for a while.
I like the idea. Hopefully it works. If it doesn't, I have some ideas. Number one, no more fuel. No more fuel stopping. So
would that have the opposite effect?
No, you haven't listened to the full idea. No more fuel stopping. So you're not required to stop for fuel, but you have to pit at least 5 times in a stage. And you know what? Actually, screw that. You have to pit 5 times in a single stage, every stage, and you have to get 5 fuel every single time. You got to top up on the fuel every time.
Bruh.
Thoughts?
That feels disturbing. My solution is to just unleash Carson Hocevar on the field. That'll speed everyone up.
Dude, yeah, actually, you know what?
I think you got to put him in a car without the limiter, starting from the back of the field. And everyone's just got to run for their life. I don't know what we think.
I think that's a banger idea because then you already know Carson's gonna start some shit in the midfield. You already know he's gonna see a gap, and it's gonna be a tiny ass gap, and there's not gonna be room, and the man's just gonna go for it and wreck half the field, and it's gonna be a good freaking day.
Everyone's fighting to get to the fronts that they're not caught up in the inevitable big one happening behind them.
The big one. Carson Hocevar gets a new car after every big one he causes.
Yeah, no, I'm here for it.
100%. 100%.
To be clear, Carson Hocevar, funny guy, incredibly talented driver. Still love making fun of him.
Yeah. You know, honestly, he might be... You know, in my eyes, he's a top 3 talent. In terms of just raw pace. Talent. When I say talent, I don't mean like best drivers in the grid. I mean like he has the ability to be one of the best drivers in the grid. He's not a prospect anymore, though. I can't say prospect because he's not a prospect anymore. But if you look at all the NASCAR drivers and you look at the talent they have, I'd put Carson Hocevar in the top 3. I'm not saying he's the top 3 driver right now. I'm saying he's the ability to get there.
Okay.
You don't agree with that, and that's fine. Anyway, something that me and Jack both agree on, though.
Yes.
Banger transition. Let's get it. Cleetus McFarland has been denied clearance for Talladega. If you didn't know, he raced in his first ever O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race at Rockingham. He was trying to go for Talladega this year in 3 races, and he got denied. Mostly due to his lack of experience, and he was told to race more short tracks in the top 3 series, or bottom 3 series, which is ARCA, Trucks, and O'Reilly. And maybe in the future he can get approved for super speedways for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. But he is at least able to race at every single ARCA track, most Trucks tracks, and some O'Reilly tracks. So,
yeah, I guess this throws a wrench in his plans with RCR a little, but this is very well deserved, especially given how his previous super speedway experience went, to put it lightly. And he did perform well in, what was it, the ARCA East race specifically, so like a tier below main ARCA.
Yeah.
He did perform well. I think that he is innately talented. There is a place for him in these lower developmental series, but it is way too far, way too fast. And finally, NASCAR has in some way put their foot down a little bit. Although I think that kind of yet another embarrassing showing forced their hand a little bit at Rockingham in the O'Reilly series.
Yeah, I think it's deserved that he got denied. I think that, again, my whole thing was, if he doesn't have the experience to be doing like super speedways Cup at any point, the more experience he gets, the more I am okay with him doing super speedways, doing other series, top series. Like I think he has like the clear talent to be able to run some of these races at a future point, but right now he just doesn't have the experience to do it. And I'm okay with this decision. I'm in favor of this decision. I don't hate Cleetus. Let's be very clear. I don't hate him as a person. I don't hate him as a YouTuber. I don't hate him as a driver. I just don't think he has the experience to be running with the big boys. And that's okay. He has like 7 races under his belt, and that's it. That's fine. But I think run a good chunk of ARCA, run a good chunk of trucks, run short tracks in O'Reilly. You'll get there. Like, it's not like he's never going to get there, and I don't think he should get there at all. No, he can get there. He just needs to get more experience. So, yeah, fun. Now we're going to do a little bit. This is our main story. This is called... so, for people that know, I play NASCAR 25 pretty often. I went on a Reddit and I hedged the question to the NASCAR video game Reddit. What would you add to NASCAR 26 if you could add anything? And I'm going to go through some of these little bits and pieces that people have wanting to add. And I'm going to have Jack and I say yes or no to adding it. And if it's no, explain why a little bit. Okay. Let's go with number 1, classic tracks. Yes, no, maybe. Would you want it added into the next game?
I think it depends how you define classic tracks, but I can't ever see more tracks being a bad thing. Saw people in the comments talking about Auto Club, which I think is really funny.
Yeah.
Because thinking of that as classic just blows my mind a little bit, because it still feels surreal that it's gone. Even though I think that some of the corporate campus stuff they were trying to do there is stalled out. Strangely enough, I'm doing a project in a course of mine that was looking at building something on that site, actually. So I could tell you, as of pretty recently, people still don't know what's happening with the site. But that being a classic track is crazy. But that's got to be... Who says no to that? Who says no?
I wouldn't say no. I would say yes to that, 100%. Number 2, full control over the car during cautions, middle of the stages, and pit stops.
Yeah, I mean, the F1 game does it. You can choose it, right? Make it a setting for people who don't need that level of immersion and don't want to have to pay attention to not screwing themselves over during the kind of boring parts. But why not? Literally, why not?
I agree. I think Yeah, I think I like the F1 games purely because it lets me do the safety car stuff. Lets me take control of the car during the safety car. Lets me do my own pit stops. Lets me do all that. So I think having that in NASCAR would be fun. I think, you know, yeah, I don't know. I think that's a good idea. Modifieds and more local short tracks, fantasy or real.
Ooh, interesting.
I'm going to say yes, purely because I want Thompson Speedway inside NASCAR. Because the modifieds run there. They're running there this year. I'm going to do my best to go to that race this year. Yes.
I like it. I almost would prefer adding the tracks alone without worrying too much about the cars, unless they add like a blanket modified like car under the trucks instead of like an ARCA type thing. As far as the game progression goes, kind of like how Heat 5 had the dirt series before the trucks. You know what do you remember what I'm talking about?
I hated the dirt series.
Yeah, no, me too, but I just mean like that
I
setup,
think it's
right?
yeah, that setup would be cool.
Where I worry about them adding too many types of cars in because at the end of the day, this is supposed to be a game that can ship to a console and not like an iRacing type game where you have endless add-ons and it's constantly being worked on and stuff. Where the more they put in, tracks is different because tracks work with any car, but the more cars you have to worry about at each of the tracks, it feels like the more chances for them to screw things up with different series operating.
Now, with you saying that, I'm going to give you this next one. Legacy cars like the Gen 6, Car of Tomorrow, Gen 4, and the 87s.
It's the same thing. I feel like it would be cool, but they've already got work to do on making the actual National Series cars drive better. So why would we add, what, in this case, 4 more car types into the game from just that one comment? Much less any kind of modified or late models or anything like that. Why add more if they've still got work to do on the ones that are there? That should be the bread and butter of the game.
Yeah. I would like to see it, but maybe like a DLC where like, you know what I mean? Like make it like a DLC or something where like people can get it if they want, and if they don't have to. So it doesn't add more to the game then.
Even then, it feels like the game is just too new. There are so many more pressing things to fix. It feels like with the existing cars that, you know, there are only so many devs. There's only so much dev time that can go into it. And
yeah,
I feel like I would prefer better driving cup cars than really terribly made / optimized Gen 4 cars on top of not really getting improvement in the others.
Okay.
But I will say in like the distant future, absolutely. Like a few years from now, if they really get other stuff like nailed down, absolutely add it in. But like in the next year or two, I feel like it's too early.
Okay. What about driving for real teams in career mode?
Blows my mind that that's not already a thing. Right?
Yeah, no, it does. Heat 5 had it. I like the Heat games. They had it. I would love to drive as a real team in a game.
I feel like it's borderline inexcusable the limitations on like career management in this first iteration of the game. Like, fix that, please.
Yeah. If they don't fix it soon, I might not get the next games. So, you know, but here we go. An external website to make the custom paint schemes, kind of like how the college football games have the team builder website. To me, it would seem a lot easier to do on a computer than it is on console for making paint schemes, and then you could transport it to the game on console.
I agree. I I think depending on the level of creativity you get, you might need to bar custom things from multiplayer. Um, because, I'm sure people would find ways to get creative if they have computer access instead of like lockdown kind of console access.
Hmm.
Um, but also, it's not like that's not already a problem in a way. So I don't see why not.
Okay. What about driver finish variability? I'm so tired of seeing the same top 5 or top 10 of a race. Sometimes a mid or lower team nails it and gets a good finish. Sometimes the top team blows it. We should see that play out in the game.
I haven't played the game enough to speak on that.
So I
Uh,
will I will speak on it. Yes, we need it because I'm sick and tired. When you're not playing in the series, when you're not driving in a specific series, it's all chaos. I mean, I've told you what happened to my save in the truck series, my first year. I have yet to tell you what happened in the O'Reilly and the Cup series, the 2 years that I didn't race there. But it you need more finish variability when you're inside the series because there are so many times in ARCA. I get William Sawalich is that guy in ARCA, but he didn't finish in the top like 5 every single race. He's not going to do that. It's not possible. You got to have some variability in there.
I mean, in Arca you might, but yeah, no, I agree with the
Okay,
sentiment.
that's fair. But like in the trucks, like
Yeah.
Tony
No,
Breidinger and
I
Frankie
get you.
Muniz won a race in the truck series the first season when the season before I hopped into the truck series. What do you mean? But when I get into the truck series, nobody wins but Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. A bajillion paint schemes.
True.
That's it. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. Bubba Wallace, I don't think has a single paint scheme outside of his Columbia scheme. I'm like pretty sure on that.
That's a little disappointing.
It is. No McDonald's, no Bubba Casino, or what is it called? No, shit, it's not Bubba Casino. What is it called?
Chumba.
Chumba Casino.
Chumba.
There we go. There's not Chumba. There's no McDonald's. There's no Air Force. Like, there's no Bubba Wallace schemes outside of his Columbia one. And I would argue that Columbia skin is garbage compared to some of his other ones from last year. So, but compared, it's not a bad scheme. Just compared to some of his other ones from last year, it's not the best. Let's see. Weather. Bring some rain to short tracks.
Why not? It's a thing that can happen. So why not? Why not let it happen?
Yeah. I think also bringing some rain to the road courses would be fun. Slipping and sliding all over the place. Because let's be honest, the road courses are one of the only courses I think outside of short tracks that you can actually run in the rain.
Well, they've been that way for longer, right?
Yes, but
They were the only one that you could run for a long time.
yes,
but yeah,
but
absolutely.
Still, like I think bringing some weather in it would be nice. A lot of people have said Cup at the Rock.
Yeah, that's another one that you should be able to customize the schedule. Like, beyond just Cup at Rockingham, like, have the tracks that exist in the game, let people race where they want to race. Like, if that's a setting that you want to change, if you want to mess with the calendar a little bit, why not let them do that? The track's already there. Why not let the car drive on it?
I want to go. I'm going to drive Cup cars at Lime Rock.
Right? And why?
I would love to.
Why can't you? Why can't you?
I know. You could probably mod it, but like I don't want to spend that time. Also, I have it on console, so I can't mod it.
Yeah.
It is what it is. We'll go with 2 more. The first one is drivers retiring or swapping teams. So like the F1, how like you could run co-op or you could run in like the F1 game and like after like a season or 2, like some drivers will retire, some drivers will like move. I think some drivers move up. They have a whole youth driver. They have some youth drivers in the F1 game. They move up when Max retires in the first season. The other drivers move up. I think that's a fair thing to have in the NASCAR games.
Yeah.
Driver movement.
And that goes hand in hand with the like finish variability.
Mm-hmm.
It's just too boring without enough randomness.
Let's see.
Every time you play it, it's going to be the same.
Yeah. Uh, ooh, this one's kind of fire, and I'll leave off with this one. They should add a co-op mode where you can play as a spotter as you or a buddy race.
I do think that would be really funny. I think that's really hard to do for a console game, though. I feel like that
I
would be a
think so
PC
too,
game or something like that.
but like that would be kind of sick. Like that would
Yeah.
be kind of dope.
If
Just
they
saying.
could pull it off, like imagine if you will, a free secondary version of the game that's basically like a spectator mode where you can just spot through that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
obviously that's much easier said than done. But if it's already a multiplayer race, surely you have all the data necessary to make that happen. So you could just have them spectate from up in a spotter stand and let them, even if they've got to figure out the comms on their own, like calling separately, like let them role play like that.
Yeah.
I
think
have
that's a
one-
great idea. Yeah.
I have one more pulled from this thread that
Okay.
really hits home to me, which is that it should come out like Madden or college football before the season starts. And this is my biggest issue
Yeah.
with the NASCAR
Yeah.
game, with the F1 games, with
Yeah.
really a lot of sports games.
What's going to be the IndyCar game? I guarantee you that shit's not coming out before the season starts.
Like it's inexcusable for it to come out even halfway through the season. People get these games because in a lot of ways they want to play along with it. They want the updated information going into the year as best they can. And, you know, ratings and cars and stuff, you update them throughout the season. But they get them because they're excited about the sport during the sport. Right? Madden sells huge numbers and does huge numbers during like August, September because people are excited about the season starting. And they want to live out their dreams alongside reality. And the motorsports games have always done a terrible job of that. I mean, I was playing F125 the other day, and I was sitting here thinking, this is ridiculous. Like, I was playing, what is it, Breaking Point, and it's from, like, the 24 season, the drivers, at like, the early part of the story. Because I had restarted the Breaking Point game mode, and I'm like, this is wrong. There's no way. I should not be seeing Valtteri Bottas in, like, a green car. In a game that I'm playing in April of 2026, but it is the most recent game available to play an F1 game in, right?
Yeah. I think the only exception, and I mean the only exception, if that, is new regulations. If the car is changed so much, fair. But if the car is the damn same, like it is most freaking years, game should come out before the season starts.
Even then, I feel like you can update the driver lineups and the ratings. Like, even if it's... I don't know. Maybe it's unrealistic because of how much it would have to change some of the other things about it, but at least let me play with updated driver rosters while you're working on that. Let me do something current to the 2026 season while it's going on.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like, my favorite part about, you know, Madden and 2K and all that before I stopped playing those games was that I could get the game before the season starts and predict what would happen.
Yeah.
Play through the season like it was. Like I love playing the F1 games, but in the NASCAR game I love playing, but like I want to be able to play shit through the season. Cuz they have in the NASCAR game, they have a like season mode where you can go through the entire season. Why can't you make it before the season starts? You know, put the game up before the season starts so I can play through that game mode while the season is going on.
Exactly. And I always, like Madden, I always enjoy franchise mode way more during the season than I do afterwards. Like, once it reaches the end of the season, I skip through that first season a lot of the time and start playing leading into the next one with, like, trying to use user-updated rosters and stuff like that. Like, the appetite is a lot more predictive than, hey, the season's already over. Now, do you want to play through it? Where, a season mode is still fun, but it's not, it doesn't hit quite the same.
I agree. No, I fully agree with that. I'm fully in agreement. Racing games do better. That's all I gotta say. So Jack did not watch either O'Reilly or the Trucks race. I'm gonna out him right now.
It
Jack,
was not
I'm so
for
sorry
lack
for
of trying.
you.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
I tried. I was in
the
Erie,
women's-
Pennsylvania, and the CW affiliate up there was showing the freaking weather instead of the race. And I tried to watch the race. I lost my access to YouTube TV. That timed out because I have a subscription through my family, and I am not home most of the year. And so I did what I could to try to watch the race, and the stars did not align. Because for those of you who don't know, even though the CW is a freely accessible channel, if your local CW affiliate does not show the race, you're out of luck. You can't watch it on the app. You can only watch a replay of it after the fact. And so instead, I got semi-live updates from Alex and from Twitter, which there are worse ways still to track a race, but I certainly wish I was able to watch it like I intended.
Yeah. Shout out Biggie Bob, aka the Pock, for those updates.
Put up the Biggie Bob.
Here's Biggie Bob. Here's Biggie Bob. Anyway, let's get through the O'Reilly recap. Swalch won his first race win in the O'Reilly series. Let's give a round of applause. I should have picked him this week instead of 2 weeks ago, but it is what it is. I did kind of predict it though.
Hey, look, I'm giving you credit. I'm giving you your props because we have been shitting on this man for his lack of talent for a while. You picked him, and I was dumbfounded. Obviously, it's not the same race that you picked him for, but he won, and he earned it.
He earned it, yeah. It was a great race by Swalch. Now, let's be very clear. We weren't really shitting on his talent. We were just morally shitting on his shitty moves during the race. He clearly had talent. He's in JGR for a reason. But the guy made some boneheaded moves last year, and he kind of figured it out towards the end of the year. But even then, he still made some boneheaded moves, and it all came to fruition in this race. So Swalch won. Corey Day. Now, I've been shitting on Corey Day for months because I did not, especially with him wrecking half the field in the first couple of races. Man, as he turned it on the past two. He second place last time. He did finish P10 this time, but he led the most laps. He led basically all of stage 1 and stage 2, won both stages. A bad pit stop kind of screwed him over at the end, which in the final stage. But what a race from Corey Day. Roger Carruth, top 5, Eschedit. Carruth also got into it with Jesse Love, which was hilarious. Retzloff stays on Demon Time and secures P8. I don't know what they're feeding that man, but he is on roids, it seems like, on track. LeVar Scott looked decent, got a P15, and Alfredo got cucked, my king.
And I will say, I picked Brent Cruz. It was aggressive. He did lead 30 laps. He was running up front for a period of time.
He was doing really well. He was actually up front for a good chunk of the race. It's just that, I don't know what the hell happened. Oh, no, I do know what happened. He took 2 tires when everyone else took 4, and then he was behind on tires and had to pit during green flags. But he did have if he pit for 4, I'm not going to lie, he probably would have finished way closer to the front.
Just giving him his props because even though his finish was down in the 20s, he young guy, hugely talented. We've talked about him a few times. Mm-hmm. I picked him in hoping that I'd get to talk about him and shout him out. The results will come eventually. They will.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For the trucks, Heim won. Honeycutt, close. Me and Jack's picks finished 1-2. I was so close. To getting it over Jack with Heim, but I have my revenge this week.
Or do you?
Oh, I will. Riggs Legacy race. Finally, he had a decent race. Finished P3. Stuart Friesen is back, ladies and gents. P4 for him. Justin Haley stays carrying Ram with a P12. I do know that Corey LaJoie finished higher in a Ram car, but he doesn't race full time. Justin Haley does, and he's been carrying that company.
LaJoie does now.
Oh, you're right. Because
Daniel Dye.
Damn. That's... Shout out Corey LaJoie, by the way. P9, the highest finishing Ram this week.
He was P7, right? I thought he finished 7th.
Did he really? I didn't think he finished it high. Hold up. Oh my god, he was P7. What the fudge? That's disgusting. All right.
Is he goated? Is Corey LaJoie, face car man, secretly goated?
Is he cracked and goated with the sauce? Maybe. Only time will tell in that Ram car.
Many people are saying this.
Hocevar and Chandler Smith DNF'd.
Yeah.
Along with Adam Andretti, but that's not really... I wouldn't say that's like...
What's the deal with Butterbean, man? What's going on with him?
Do you want my honest answer?
Yes, I'd love it.
It's the trucks.
But he's the worst of the Kaulig Ram guys. He's worse than Mini Terrell. Maybe not in the grand scheme of things, but he finished worse than all of them.
Mini Terrell wasn't racing in ARCA though. ARCA, I feel like the jump from ARCA to trucks is bigger than. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like the jump from like ARCA to trucks is a lot bigger than any other series outside of O'Reilly to Cup.
This was a particularly tough race for him. I think after this race, he fell 6 spots in the standings, but he has 1 top 10 on the season so far in a series where, yes, he's in a Ram truck, but you really would expect him to at least be trying to compete with Justin Haley, at least be closer to the playoff conversation. But maybe that's an overreaction to one bad week for him.
Corey LaJoie up 29 spots, by the way.
Well, isn't that because he was declared for Cup points before this week? So he just got his 30 points in this race, and that put him in like 32nd?
Yes. Which is only 160 off of first. Oh, yeah. My God.
If you want to, I was going to say, if you want to talk about first place.
Corey Heim. Dude, you know it's so sad? He can't win the chip this year. He hasn't raced every race. Corey,
he's not eligible, but he is the points leader.
I'm not going to lie. If he's the points leader after, like, I know he's not racing that many more races this season, but or I don't think at least. If he's the points leader at, at the playoff time, I say let him in. I'm not going to lie. I say let him in.
190 points.
He had like 74 this past race, by the way. That's gross.
He's actually insane.
He hold up. He legit had 76 points at Rockingham. He had like literally almost like half his points in one freaking race. What the fuck, Corey? What the fuck?
He's insane.
He's raced two races less, and Jesus Christ.
He's the top 5 in every start.
Caden Honeycutt, he might have he has 2 wins and something else, but Caden Honeycutt is second.
Yeah, I mean Honeycutt is on a tear to start the year.
Honeycutt
which makes it even crazier that Corey Heim is tied with him in points and ahead in the standings.
Yeah, that's actually really gross. He's also he's led 212 laps. Nobody else has led more than 93. He's led over 200. Nobody's led more than 100. Yep. That's so funny.
Corey Heim is insane, dude. Insane.
Dude, get him in the cup right now. Get him full time in the cup. Please. I know it's not possible, but please, for the love of God.
I'm telling you, where's that 67 car?
2311. I don't care what it takes. I guarantee you that the NASCAR community will pay for his ride. Like, please let him race.
Yeah, get that open car in. Come on, 2311.
Get the open car, please. Like, find the sponsorship for the love of God, dude. He's so good. For predictions for Bristol, I have Larson Heim. I'm not gonna lie. I'm doing it. I am screwing Jack over a little bit by taking Larson Heim, but I'm doing it. Jack's actually is really good too, so I'll let you say yours.
What's really funny to me is that on the official NASCAR site, on the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series entry list for Bristol, it says Kyle Larson is the defending race winner, but is not competing this weekend in the series. But he is 100% listed on the entry list, and I'm a little confused by that.
Wait a minute, where does it say that?
It says it in the paragraph. The Suburban Propane 300 will also serve as the opening race for this season's Dash for Cash. At the end of that paragraph, on the official entry list, and I think that's really funny because then if you scroll down, he is definitely listed as the driver of the 88. I don't know if that has to do with Bowman's injury, shuffling stuff around, or what. But
so can I pick a?
No, Kyle Larson is in the race. He's on the entry list.
I know, but if he doesn't, can I pick a second driver as collateral?
Just in case? Sure, yeah, that's fine.
I want Zilich.
Okay. Yeah,
this only counts if Kyle Larson doesn't race. If he races, I'm going with Larson. If he doesn't, I'm going with Zilich.
I don't know why it says that specifically.
Just because it says that, I'm picking two drivers and I'm going with Larson as my one and Zilich as my two.
Anyway, I have Chase Briscoe in the Cup race. I think he's also running trucks, but I have him in the Cup race. This is a track that I feel like he should be pretty good at. This is a track that his teammates have been good at. Denny Hamlin and Christopher Bell have both won here recently. Larson obviously is very good here himself, but Briscoe has had a tough start to the season. This is a track that feels like it should suit him, and I can't help but think he's due to turn it around one of these days.
Yeah, my original pick before I picked Larson was Denny for the Cup. So,
yeah,
I think those JGR cars are something else.
For O'Reilly, I have Corey Day. He had a really good showing. He's really turned it around, the conversation on him recently, in a very positive way. And Bristol, it may not be dirt Bristol, but it still fits his background a little more than some of these other tracks might. Talking about coming from dirt, kind of handpicked by Kyle Larson, all of that. That, again, just especially with you already picking Larson, I was between him and Allgaier. So give me Corey Day. Let's see something strange happen.
All
what
right.
won't be strange, Kyle Busch winning in the Truck Series, which with you already picking Heim and Kyle Busch being on the entry list, I gotta take what I can.
Yep. Yeah, that's fair. It's probably gonna be Busch or Heim. So I just chose Heim because the man's on a freaking tear right now, and I don't want to bet against him. Because
I was gonna pick Riggs, but then I saw Busch on the list, and I'm like, I know better than to pick against both Heim and Busch. And with Heim already taken, no shot, right?
Yeah. Though, to be my luck, Heim doesn't win this race. So, my recent luck with picks. I mean,
maybe Heim does what Denny did a couple weeks ago, where he scored more points than the race winner by finishing second, winning both stages, and getting the fastest lap.
I'll cry. And if it's Busch that wins, I'll cry even more. But my luck this year with predictions has been god awful. I'm one for one. I got one wrong, 1 right, 6 wrong in the Cup, 1 right, 7 wrong in O'Reilly, 0 right, 5 wrong in the trucks. Jack has 1
O'Reilly
right,
numbers
6
not
wrong
add
in
up.
trucks. Oh, did I not? Wait, how many races are they in O'Reilly? Are they in there? Did I add 1 more than I should have?
Yeah, I feel like yours is too high. Because they have 7. Oh, no.
No, yours is
no, they have
8 too low.
No, you're right. I'm missing 1.
You're missing 1 loss because you didn't win this week in O'Reilly. So you're missing 1 O'Reilly loss.
Yeah.
So Jack has 1 right, 6 wrong in Cup, 2 right, 6 wrong in O'Reilly, 2 right, 3 wrong in trucks. Remember last year when I completely dominated our predictions? Yeah, this year sucks.
So far, there's a lot of time.
And I refuse to get off of the Lewis Hamilton train in F1, so I'm not getting a single race win this year.
That's not true.
You think Lewis is winning this year?
I think the second you switch off of him, he's going to win. But no,
That's
I
it.
think he's going to get a win. I think he will.
Next race, I'm switching off him. I don't give a damn. I'll pick George Russell. I swear to God. Or you know what? I'll pick Kimmy, and then George will win. Anyway, yeah, IMSA nothing. WEC. This is our last thing before we go on to races. There's literally no races this week. There's just Trucks O'Reilly and Cup. So, but next week there's a slate. But Kobe Powell's is racing for Aston Martin at Imola for their first race of the season in place of Eduardo Barrichello, who has other. What's the right word? He's racing in IMSA. He's racing the Sports Car Championship that same weekend. He has other priorities, so he's not going to be racing in WEC for Aston Martin. That's what I'm trying to say. Other than that, nothing. And then for races this week, NASCAR Truck Series at Bristol, Friday, April 10th, 7:30. NASCAR O'Reilly Series at Bristol, Saturday, April 11th at 7:30 p.m. And NASCAR Cup Series race at Bristol, Sunday, April 12th at 3 p.m. all Eastern Standard Time. Next week, though, I believe you have Cup, O'Reilly, maybe Trucks, IndyCar, WEC. I think that's it. And maybe IMSA. No, IMSA too. You have IMSA, WEC, IndyCar, Cup, O'Reilly, maybe Trucks. Big slate next week, but this week, very tiny slate. Anyway, that is it. Jack, do you have any final thoughts?
I do not.
You do not. All right, well, I will say my final thought, and that is